Live ECU?
Do you bleed purple and gold?
Are you ready to hoist the colors?
Hoist the colors!
It's time for the most in-depth look into the world of ECU athletics. Welcome to Hoist the Colors with your host, Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game.
Watch the show live on Facebook
and at 943thegame.com. Here's Stephen Igo.
Welcome in. It's Hoist the Colors, beginning a brand new week of sports talk, sports coverage on 94.3 The Game. Busy Monday. We'll have our weekly chat with head coach Cliff Godwin here in segment 2 shortly. We'll recap a hard-fought series loss at Tulane, where the Pirates didn't play terrible, but just the little things added up, and the Pirates lose another road series. We'll get into that with Coach Godwin. Also talk about the win over Duke a little bit, look ahead NC State, Wichita State coming to town this week as well. The comments section are open on YouTube, Facebook, and X if you want to drop a question or leave a comment in the chat. We'll get to that as well. We also just left the Town Bank Tower club level, where we caught up with just about every ECU assistant coach, minus the coordinators, Jordan Hankins and Jordan Davis, who we spoke with last week. So we'll have some of that coverage for you on 94.3 The Game. That'll be up on their YouTube channel here shortly. We may discuss that towards the back half of the show as well, and then I'll have a bunch of written information up on hoistthecolors.net coming out of that. A lot of good position talk, a lot of good updates, and we get to know some of these new assistants as well. Philip Hilkinen, he's back behind the glass, hanging out intern Isaiah. Intern Isaiah was there as well. Philip, how you doing on this Monday?
Good, man. Solid weekend. Got to watch a lot of sports this weekend. It was relaxing. Weather's good. It was fun to meet some of these new coaches, put some names with some faces. We've seen them. I guess we maybe had the names in the face because we've seen them out at practice, but I never really had a chance to talk to these guys. So it was good. I enjoyed today. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. It's always good to get to know the new assistants, although I think I may have missed out on the majority of them because James Giglio, who's going to be here Wednesday, he was helping me out with a few new interviews, and I didn't have time to get to the O-line coach. We were kind of pressed for time, had to get over here. But still good to talk to those guys. We don't get a chance to get to the assistants as much as obviously Blake Carroll, which is understandable, but good for that, and we get a lot of good information. So I enjoyed it and appreciate Malcolm Gray, everybody at ECU, and the football staff for putting that together. Again, spring game this Saturday. I believe 1 o'clock kickoff officially.
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
Inside Daddy Ficklin Stadium, obviously free to attend, but get out there and check out the Pirates. We'll preview more of the spring game this coming week, what we want to see, etc. All right, let's get into baseball. Again, Cliff Godwin will have that interview next segment. I know, by the way, that people probably want to know about Grady Linehan, so just right off the bat, I did ask him in the interview. He did say Grady suffered a dislocated shoulder. They were able to get back into place, but they won't know the extent of the injury or how much time he'll miss till they do further testing. So there's the update there. Maybe avoided a worst-case scenario potentially with Linehan's injury. But all in all, disappointing weekend for the Pirates. Anytime you lose a series, especially to a team whose RPI in Tulane is near, 150? Yeah, they're up to 145. But I could go into a whole discussion about how Tulane underperforms every year until they play ECU or get to Clearwater and play at the conference tournament. Either way, ECU loses the series. They have not won a road weekend series since almost a full calendar year, I believe last year, around mid-April, and they'll be at home the next 2 weeks. So by the time they get a chance to do it again at Memphis, it'll have been some time. Now, you also did play at Coastal. You did play at UTSA, but this was a very winnable series that slips through the grasp. I didn't think ECU played bad. I thought ECU pitched well enough to sweep the series, definitely to win the series. The offense was, again, very hit or miss. They had come into the series red hot. They scored only 1 run in the Friday game. Yesterday, they were pretty much shut down outside of one spot in the lineup. So we can get into some of the specifics here in a minute, Philip, but overall, a missed opportunity. You had a chance to continue this momentum. It's been a roller coaster season, and once again, we find the Pirates kind of feeling down after this weekend.
Yeah, I think part of the reason it was so frustrating is the way Friday and Saturday went on the mound. Friday, we were worried that what happened last Thursday was going to be a blimp on the radar for Luke Payne. And he goes out there and he does that. Maybe not quite as good, but does it again. Proves that he can be a guy. You score 1 run. Then Saturday, no, what I'm about to say, we did win Saturday, but Ethan Norby starts out not with his stuff the first time through the order, and you're going, oh my goodness, here we go. And then all of a sudden he locks in with back-to-back 9-pitch innings. And Dylan Johnson and I were talking about this during the break, that there are good big league pitchers, legit starting big league pitchers, that if they struggle the first time through the order, it ain't their day. They can't bounce back. There are few guys like Ethan Norby that can bounce back the way Ethan Norby did. So then you do that, you grind out a hard-fought, gritty, blue-collar win Saturday, and the bats go cold again Sunday. And it's just, it's like, this is one of those things, man, you could have lived with the 2 in 1 week, but with what you got out of Payne, the maturity that you got out of Ethan Norby, you got to find a way to win 2 of those.
I'm with you. And, credit Tulane for making some stellar defensive plays. I thought they made about 5 or 6 web gems throughout the course of the weekend. They robbed Jack Herron of a homer on Sunday. They also made 2 great plays on the contact plays ECU put on to throw guys out the plate, one of which led to the Linehan injury. On Sunday, they had multiple web gems Friday, and it just felt like ECU could not string much together. And I don't know. I mean, again, it's not like they just gave the game away. Now, Friday, they did make a couple errors that were costly, but it's just maybe it's as simple as the New Orleans voodoo, but that's kind of feels like a cop-out. ECU now 2-7 in the last 9 games in New Orleans dating back to 2022. Ever since Corey Glore left, we just can't win in New Orleans. So blame Corey Glore. Great friend of the program. But he's caught a lot of ECU losses in New Orleans since he left. Either way, I don't know, man. It's kind of hard to put your finger on with this team. Now, look, I'm not making excuses for the team, but I do think the injuries continue to add up. And I think the most frustrating thing, go back to Philip's point, is even with the pitching injuries to Gavin Van Kempen and Colby Weber and a few other bullpen arms, you pitch well enough to win, and they just have not been able to be consistent enough offensively. Like, even the top of the order this weekend was not good. Braden Burris had a rare off weekend. Davin Whitaker, I don't think he had a hit over the weekend, maybe one. It was just a real struggle. Linehan until Sunday had gone over. Jack Herron had a good weekend, but really your top 3 in the order struggled until Sunday with Linehan. And, credit Michael Kalinic for having a monster series. I do want to point out that even though Kalinic had a great offensive series, and I do think he needs to see the lineup, not having Walker Barron Friday and Saturday and Sunday with him not being 100%, Tulane killed ECU on the base pass. I don't think ECU threw out a Tulane player on the base pass all weekend, and they gave up probably at least, I don't have the numbers in front of me, probably at least 7-8 steals. You did have the pick off Sunday that, for one reason or another, you didn't make the tag or they failed to rule it a tag play. So the little things, man, it just, like all those runs, every time they stole a base, they seemed to come around to score, Philip, and ultimately it cost ECU, and what was a pretty competitive series that could have gone either way, ultimately cost them the series. So I just don't know. I mean, it's something that ECU works on all the time. I'll ask Cliff Godwin about it. You'll hear it next segment. But we're at the point in the season where, for one reason or another, this team just can't find that consistency from week to week. 1 week is pitching, 1 week is hitting, one game it's defense, the next game it's base running. I don't know. It's just become a very frustrating season as I sit here and ramble about it.
Steven, one of the issues that I think we all realize and that people are talking about, but maybe we haven't brought it up as much, when you're a team who struggles this way, but you can change the game with one swing of the bat, you luck into some wins that maybe you didn't deserve. We're not hitting enough home runs to cover for inconsistencies. And you brought this up 2 weeks ago. Maybe we did not realize the significance of the Braxton Trammell injury until we got into the middle of the season. I think it was after the UTSA series loss that you said it, and I think that's kind of roared its ugly head again. Because, again, the pitching was good. The hitting wasn't, how do you bail yourself out, a bloop and a blast. Michael Kalinic bailed us out. That's great. He's one guy. We're not doing that consistently enough. We need a couple more blasts. I mean, right now, Grady's leading the team in home runs. I mean, that's great. It's great that a freshman, was he hit 6 home runs? 7 home runs?
I think 7 after this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, that's great. You can't be relying on your freshman center fielder to lead the team in bombs. It's just not a recipe for success. And then you go back to the previous weekend against Charlotte where you swept. Well, what happened? You finally started hitting the ball out of the ballpark. 2 from Walker Barron. Grady had a couple. I want to say Davin might have had one that week, or Herring. And you swept that week.
You know, I'm looking at it now. And going into the season, I think we expected, and again, I'm not trying to like rag on individual players here or anything. This is just what ECU expected going into the season. You had 3 players, I would have said, probably hit anywhere from 8 to 12 home runs. Probably you would be counting on maybe double-digit home runs from Colby Wallace, Austin Irby, and Jack Vogeley was supposed to be a guy in the middle of the order, and right now you've got 5 combined home runs from that group. Obviously, Vogeley injured. Wallace has been hitting for a good average for a while now. He also has he ranks near the top of the team in doubles, and he has a triple, but he has just the 1 homer. And then Austin Irby, 5 doubles, 4 homers. He has the lowest slugging percentage among ECU regulars right now, and that's one of your probably highest paid position players. And look, I asked Coach about Austin Irby, and you can see his response, and he's going through it right now. Look at it; he's not trying to get out, so I'm not trying to rag on Austin, but the reality is you expected more from those guys from the power department for whatever reason it has not materialized. Now, you've gotten 7 homers from Grady, which leads the team. You've gotten 6 from Jack Herring, but nobody else has more than 5. Kalinic has 4 home runs and 34 at-bats, which is a ridiculous percentage. And Whitaker's hit 3, Braden's hit 3. But on top of that, you're not really stealing bases, Phillip. ECU 30 of 40 on the season, so they're not running a lot. Maybe if Peltier's healthy, you're running more. But,
Dude, Sabater stole 1 bag. He's 1 for 3. I mean, that's the crazy thing.
And he stole
1 for 3.
I guess it's a lot easier to steal in D2.
I guess so. But he's still one of the fast guys. The problem is he's small sample size. But, yeah, as you mentioned, look, Jack's a great ball player. Jack ain't fast. He would be in the lineup if Peltier was healthy. He'd be DH in every game, but Peltier would be in the lineup. Davin covers ground. He's fast in the outfield, but doesn't have that quick enough jump to steal bags. Like he's the long stride. I can go cover. When I've got to run 80 feet, I can do it. But that first jump when you're only running 45 feet after a 15-foot lead, like Davin doesn't have that.
Some comments here. Kenny Curlin says 2-2 week, losing 2 out of 3 in conference is very disappointing. He says, hate losing Friday night with that good pitching performance from Luke. Why can't we get a hit? Why can't we hit a dang fly ball with players in scoring position with 1 out or no outs? Yeah, ECU doing a decent job of making contact. Unfortunately, just hitting the ball right to people with runners on third, less than 2 outs, which sometimes is baseball, but also goes back to execution. Lane Smith says, all these people being positive, good for you, but this team won't win the conference, probably won't get an at-large, don't have the pitching to win the tournament or a regional. They are going to need to get some arms back to go on that sort of run. I agree, Lane. We'll see. They're still 36 in the RPI with a 16th national strength of schedule. The resume is not great, but the metrics would indicate they still have a shot at an at-large, so I wouldn't rule that out yet. Definitely got to be more consistent down the stretch, which has been a problem. Lane also saying, are we really saying Braxton would have been a 20-homer guy? Sorry, nope. I'm not saying he would have hit 20 home runs, but 12 to 15, he hit 4 home runs and 55 ABs last year, and he's just a power bat. If you watch him take BP. So, he at least gives you, I think, 10 if healthy. So, Johnny Robertson also saying Pirate basketball 0-3, football 0-2, baseball 2-7 in games played in New Orleans since Corey's arrival at Tulane. So, ECU a combined 2-12 in New Orleans in the Big Three.
So what we need to do is steal Corey's resume and start mailing it out to Power 5 teams that ECU doesn't play.
Yes.
that are going to pay him more in a job that he can't turn down so that he no longer is against ECU. It's all Corey's fault, and we love him as a person. We hate him as a competitor because he beats us, and he needs to get a job in the SEC.
Couldn't agree more. Corey Glore to the SEC. Start the campaign now. All right, we got to get a break in. We'll come back. We'll talk with Cliff Godwin. We'll get his take on the week that was. Also ask him about a number of other items, injury-related players, and a whole lot more after this.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro-adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Healthwise Pharmacy rounds the bases with all of your infusion, retail, compounding, and medical equipment needs. Locally owned and operated by pharmacist Marcy Parker, Healthwise has grown to be your most trusted provider for infusion services. Currently providing in-home or on-site infusions in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia. Visit Healthwise Pharmacy at 615B South Memorial Drive or call 252-295-0059 to speak to a patient service representative to find the option that best suits your needs.
The best burgers around. Everyone loves a thick, juicy, and fresh burger. Tiebreakers does real burgers better than anybody. And don't forget about the cheese sticks, fresh salads, and more. So don't just go to any burger-themed restaurant chain. It's time to break the chain and eat local. Tiebreakers, burgers and sports at its best.
Go Pirates! Arg!
In this age of globalization, we've learned that bigger isn't always better. Ever tried to get phone help from a big corporation from a real person? Right. That's what's so nice about Phelps Chevrolet. After more than 50 years serving our community, Phelps remains family-owned and operated. Mike, Daryl, Wave, West, Alan, and Clay deliver hometown service and integrity, same as always. They share your experience, they share your values, and they are ready to help with any motoring need. Come get you one.
Daughtridge Gas and Oil has been your dependable propane supplier for 95 years. Their trained technicians can service and properly install all your propane and natural gas appliances. Plus, Daughtridge Gas and Oil is your backyard expert with fire pits, grills, smokers, and more, including quality outdoor furniture at their Greenville Patio and Hearth Shop at 1901 Charles Boulevard. Go by and see the knowledgeable staff at Daughtridge Gas and Oil for propane delivery or call 756-1345.
You have a choice when you invest in insurance, and when you choose First State Insurance Advisors, you're working with people you can trust. Clark Stallings has deep ties in the community. His team, including Keaton Smith, Regina Asby, Phil Leyva, Max Joyner Jr., Max Joyner III, and Ginger Smith, provides knowledgeable and professional advice. First State Insurance Advisors is an independent insurance agency. They offer all types of personal insurance as well as various types for business. Call or email First State Insurance Advisors today. We want to be your trusted choice agency.
Like all pirates, Stephen Igo is loyal and bold.
He may also have a touch of scurvy. Back to Hoist the Colors on 94.3 The Game.
Welcome back into Hoist the Colors on a Monday. It's time for our weekly visit with East Carolina head baseball coach Cliff Godwin. Pirates coming off a 2-2 week. They beat Duke in the midweek, drop a hard-fought series to Tulane in New Orleans over the weekend. Cliff, we always get your initial thoughts on the week that was. Your thoughts on the Pirates 2-2 week?
Well, first off, you and I laughed about it, but of course, we had a recruit last Monday, so we didn't get to talk about the 4-0 week. So now we're back to a 2-2 week. I just, always think about what's Igo going to ask me. What does he want to hear? I mean, most people that are naysayers, they want to be negative, but let's look at the positive stuff. We lost 2-3 at Tulane, which we shouldn't have. And we're still 36 in the country in RPI. We haven't played as consistent baseball as we want to or we should, and we have the 36 RPI in the country. We have the 16th strength of schedule in the country. So we just need to play consistent baseball down the stretch, and we will. I have a lot of confidence in this group, and I've got to do a better job of keeping their energy up I didn't think we had great energy on Friday, and I didn't think we had great energy on Sunday. And when you are nicked up, you've got to have great energy. And our leaders, especially the position players, need to do a better job. And um, I'm going to meet with several of them today because we're going to do a better job.
You mentioned those numbers, Cliff, and obviously I think maybe that's led to some of the frustration internally, externally, whatever you want to call it. Just we know the potential of this team. You guys have played a very tough schedule, and at times, we saw that specifically last week, just kind of what the ceiling is. And is it as simple as just finding a way to be more consistent on a day in, day out basis? Is that kind of the biggest challenge right now?
Well, first off, I'm not going to be a head coach that sits up here and talks about, hey, we lost our Saturday and Sunday starter and all this stuff. But we do have to play fundamentally sound baseball, and we have a standard of being excited to play. And when you don't take care of the little things, as we didn't yesterday, and you don't have great energy, you're not going to win a series on the road. Um, we didn't play terrible, but we didn't play well enough to win a championship. And what I mean by that, I told the team this: nobody that is on this team except the guys that were on the 2024 team know what it takes to win a regular season championship. And really, that's the message. You have to be more consistent with your mentality. You have to be more consistent with the fundamentals. And yes, that falls on coaching. So as always, I take all the blame, but they have to do better as well. And they will, because we'll coach them better.
You mentioned the little things, Coach. And I mean, you just look at that. You guys pick the guy off. First off, I mean, he makes a great slide. I'm sure Braden has replayed that many times in his mind. Doesn't get the tag on him in time, or however they ruled it. 2 runs score after that. At times they made some really good plays defensively when y'all had the contact play on. Like, they kind of made those little plays, and was it as simple as doing those little things allowed them to win the series? How much of that can be a coaching point for you guys going forward?
Well, it's a big coaching point. I just said that. So, it's kind of a crazy rule when you think about it. You run down the first base line, they're so specific of where the lane is. Well, you can go as far inside as you want when you get picked off as first base, which can make the play difficult. Charlie Hoagland's got to get the ball to Irby a little bit quicker, and Irby actually just had to get rid of it. And look, I'm 99% sure that Braden tagged the guy, but you're on the road, and as I tell our guys, you got to make your own breaks. So, of course, they don't see it. They call it safe on the field, so it ends up being safe. Very thankful that the review did work, because on the play that the umpire called Tulane's runner safe at first base, I'm like, I'd already turned my head and freaking was going back in the dugout. Because I knew he was out, and I'm like, oh my God, like how did we get that safe? But luckily the review did work in that situation.
I'm sure you guys don't know a ton about Linehan at this point, but just thoughts on that play and his injury, and what you guys are hoping for there.
Yeah, he dislocated his left shoulder. We're able to get it back in. He'll have an X-ray today to just make sure there's nothing structurally wrong with the bone structure. And we're keeping our fingers crossed. We're hoping it's a Jack Heron situation where nothing is structurally wrong, and he'll be able to rehab, and hopefully we can get him back out there on Friday.
Obviously a freak play. He's trying to outrun the tag, dive into home. Just kind of a big picture question, Coach, but with turf and look, you guys aren't alone in going to turf, and then obviously almost every team in this league has turf. Is it, I don't know, does it make, and this may be something that's not up your alley, but for me as a baseball fan, like, we're so used to the game being played on grass and dirt in that area. Like, does it make guys more susceptible to injury? Is that a problem at all with the game, in your opinion, maybe?
I'm sure it does. And every turf's different. That's the other thing is, it looks all the same on TV, but Tulane's turf was really, really sticky, if that makes sense. So when you went to slide, there wasn't a ton of rubber pellets like there is on some fields where, man, you just keep going and you slide past the bag. So, I mean, we always go into a weekend series or even a midweek game when you're playing on turf, and we make the base runners slide into each base. I say each base, second and third, never home, because you're normally taking batting practice. But, it was very unfortunate. Grady's playing hard, but it wasn't even like he had a collision. I mean, normally that happens when your shoulder gets jammed into a catcher, but he just kind of got stuck in the turf and his shoulder popped out.
Coach, we saw Michael Kalinic have a very big weekend at the plate, and obviously the broadcast at least said Walker was dealing with an illness. So he steps in, does a tremendous job. What did you see from Kalinic at the dish on over the weekend?
Yeah, Walker was, he got sick, and that was another thing that was unfortunate, and we got to be men enough to be able to handle that. But Michael's been working really hard in the cages to shorten his swing a little bit. I have talked to him a lot about being a right-handed thrower and, a left-handed hitter. Your dominant hand is your bottom hand, so you really got to work on getting your top hand through there. So, but Mike, to his credit, man, has got a very, very consistent process in the cages, and he's done a really good job.
And you guys have given him opportunities at DH this year, and he had obviously a good Sunday spot in that in terms of hitting another home run. Is that what you would like to envision for him? Maybe getting, even if he's not catching, obviously getting some more DH opportunities if he continues to show up as you guys put him in as a starter. It almost seems like he's better in a pinch hit or when he's not sure he's going to play situation, I guess.
I'm looking for players like Bryant Packard and Alec Burleson that make you put their name in the lineup. It's not that hard. Everybody wants to make it more complicated than it is. Hey, just play so good that the coach has to play. Pretty simple.
Indeed. Luke Payne, coach, second good weekend start for you guys, and kind of been a revelation these last 2 weeks. So what have him and AK been working on to allow for this success?
I'm super proud of him. He's really been able to get in the zone. His stuff has been good. If you go back and watch the video, which I haven't, but AK did, after Friday night start, he was like, man, he really located the baseball. And in college baseball now, man, it's a true zone, dude. You have to throw the ball in the white, which I think is a little bit tight in my opinion, because we're not major leaguers. But his fastball command's been good, and his changeup's been really good. We're still working on his slider to be a little bit, more effective. But, man, his fastball and his changeup, and he actually was able to throw some left-on-left changeup, so really good the other night.
And obviously Ethan Norby goes Saturday, and I thought pitched phenomenal, especially in the middle innings. And then, they got kind of squeezed, I thought, in the seventh inning. And then, obviously what happened there happened. What did you think of Ethan? And with the Friday-Saturday slot, is that just going to be kind of a week-to-week determination for you guys on who goes when?
We're just trying to cover innings right now with our depleted pitching staff. So, it's going to be week to week. We'll see how it goes, but I thought it helped Norby too to have a extra day's rest. But super proud of him because, they kind of came out and punched him in the mouth a little bit early, and then he started. I mean, his key is he's got to get his fastball to glove side. There's no secret to it, but when he does that, then it just gets him off his off-speed stuff. So he was able to do that in the middle innings, and if you look at the box score, it does not reflect on how good he pitched from the third inning to whatever that was, the seventh inning. And his pitch count was getting up. And I know hindsight's 20/20 for everybody, but it was the right move. We just threw a bad pitch, and the guy hit a double. So Norby pitched awesome, and was super proud of him.
Coach, where are you guys at with Irby right now? And watching him, he seems to make great swing decisions in that he doesn't chase a lot, and he's getting his walks, but just maybe not squaring it up consistently. And I know he's kind of fighting it. So where are you guys at with Austin and trying to get him through this slump he's in right now?
We're working with him. That's what we're doing. So continuously, we don't let somebody struggle and not work with them. So I feel like I've been hit by a bus today. I go as hard as I fought on every pitch this weekend. So if anybody doubts that, then they're crazy. So we are always coaching our players. And you can ask any of them, man, whenever they go through a tough spell, the coaches are with them. They're not just in the cages with them. They're talking to them, mental health checks, all that stuff, man. It's a lot. There's more things to do. I think the UCLA women's basketball coach, I think ESPN put it out, but the NCAA is going to lose good coaches, not just in women's basketball, but in all sports, because it is grinding on great coaches to try to get these young men or young women to play consistently. A lot of distractions out there, money, all this mess that we're dealing with. It has made life a lot harder. I can tell you that.
Any update at this point, Coach, on Van Camp? I know you guys were maybe looking at late April if everything went well in the rehab front. Is he getting back close to throwing it all?
GVK has not picked up a baseball yet. We're hoping that he can pick it up this week, but probably been a little bit slower with his rehab to this point than we would have liked. Colby Weber is feeling better, and we're hoping that we get him back for the conference tournament.
Cliff Godwin with us. A few more things will get you out of here, Coach. And it just seems like we don't talk about Sean Jenkins enough because he just kind of goes out there and does his job consistently. And he's pitched in and out of some jams at times, but been so consistent on the back end. And just how proud are you guys of him, the maturation he's showing right now, closing out these games?
Yeah, Sean's a stud, man. I wish everybody could see the amount of work he puts in every day to make his body feel good, take care of his body, to be able to be one of the best pitchers in the country and not be a great athlete. And I don't mean that I'm not, as a not, but just the guy works. There's no secret recipe except he just outworks people, and he's very diligent in his processes and body care and nutrition and sleep and mental game. He's going to pitch for a long time.
I meant to ask about Moran as well. Is he getting closer, Coach?
Well, as the baseball gods continue to challenge us. I guess it was Tuesday. I came into our trailer, which is the training room, after batting practice, and Nick Moran is hugging a Swiss ball, one of those big balls, that you do abs on like this, and he's hunched over. And I walk over to him, and his back is completely locked up. So. Life's challenged Nick Moran. He has done such a good job of taking care of his body at a higher level than he's ever done it. And right now, his body's just failing him. But we finally have got the back spasms down. He was able to play catch some. Shoulder's still bothering him. We're trying to get him to get that shoulder calmed down. So hopefully this week it'll get calmed down a little bit more, and maybe you'll get to see him this weekend.
Cliff Godwin, final thing for you. Obviously, NC State on Tuesday and Wichita State coming to town this weekend. 4 home games. We saw recently how much a big home crowd can mean for you guys, especially fighting through some adversity right now. Just how much does Pirate Nation need to show up, kind of have you guys back right now?
Man, it gives our guys such an energy boost. So be loud, be proud tomorrow night. Get the purple and gold chants going early. The more energy you bring, it just helps our players have energy, and I appreciate it as always.
He's Cliff Godwin. Coach, we appreciate the time on this Monday. Best of luck this week. We'll see you at the ballpark soon enough, man.
All right. Thanks, Igo.
That's Cliff Godwin joining us as he always does every Monday, recapping ECU baseball, previewing the week ahead. We'll be right back on Hoist the Colors.
This is about you, your family, and the health of all who live in Eastern North Carolina. This is about the transformation of a health system into something more powerful and more human. About creating new ways to treat disease and keep you well. This is about ECU Health, which is to say, it's really all about you. ECU Health. Minds, hearts, purpose.
You have a choice when you invest in insurance, and when you choose First State Insurance Advisors, you're working with people you can trust. Clark Stallings has deep ties in the community. His team, including Keaton Smith, Regina Asby, Phil Leyva, Max Joyner Jr., Max Joyner III, and Ginger Smith, provides knowledgeable and professional advice. First State Insurance Advisors is an independent insurance agency. They offer all types of personal insurance as well as various types for business. Call or email First State Insurance Advisors today. We want to be your trusted choice agency.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you Farm to Fork Beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes, just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to Fork Beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown. In Eastern North Carolina, people appreciate things that are straightforward, honest, and dependable. For decades, our team has focused on cutting through insurance complexity for the communities we serve. And now, we're bringing that same mindset to our name. We're Flatlands Insurance Group, a simpler name that reflects the same local team, the same values, and the same commitment to the great communities we feel blessed to be a part of. Flatlands Insurance Group, your whole world is covered.
At National Finance, we're all about hometown support, just like ECU football. National Finance helps us win on and off the field. They've got your back when you need it most. Fast, easy personal loans for life's big plays. And just like us, they're committed to Eastern North Carolina. National Finance, proud supporters of ECU athletics. Visit nfcmoney.com for loans as fast as today.
Make every day electric on the Kawasaki Electro 20 electric balance bike. Maximize the fun with long run times, impressive top speed, and Kawasaki build quality. Easy adjustability and smooth handling make everyday riding more enjoyable. And the standard MTB type tires provide off-pavement capability. The Kawasaki Electro 20 is the electric balance bike that's built to rip. Go to Ron Ayers Motorsports, Memorial Drive north of the airport, Greenville.
Hoist the sail!
Climb aboard as we set sail and hoist the colors.
Ahoy, the hearties! Back to Steve and I go on 94.3 The Game.
Third segment here, Hoist the Colors on a Monday. We just chatted with Cliff Godwin. Philip Pilkington back producing behind the glass, intern Isaiah hanging out. And a few notes to take away. We did have a question I want to get to. A few notes to take away from that interview. Again, Linehan sounds like they have avoided, hopefully, still need to do some more testing, but like a real long-term injury. You know, we'll find out for sure in the coming days, but they're hoping for a Jack Herring type situation where he misses a few games, maybe can get back sooner than later, which is promising, although we'll see what the testing shows. Sounds like Gavin Van Kempen not necessarily on track for a late April return like they were initially hoping, so that's kind of in the air. And Colby Weber could return for the conference tournament. So some of the biggest takeaways I had there, plus Nick Moran is now dealing with a back and a shoulder. Or I guess he's feeling better with his back now, but he still has the shoulder soreness. So mainly what I took away, Philip, is that the pitching is going to continue to be a day-by-day situation. And, you know, they just don't have a ton of arms right now. It's a as Cliff said, depleted pitching staff. We can get into the lineup here in a minute. One thing I did take away, have taken away the last few weeks, is I kind of like Joseph Webb better in low leverage situations than high leverage situations. I feel like he does better as an opener and if he comes in early in games as opposed to late in games. And I kind of like maybe using him more as a middle reliever and a opener than like a closer, if that makes sense.
Yeah, the tough thing is, you don't want that middle relief situation, like you said, to be some, second, third, one out in a one-run baseball game, right? And you don't know how games are going to play out. So there, it's like, do you use them as an opener? But, I think right now, look, man, if you're trying to piece this thing together, Towers midweek, Payne at some point on the weekend, Norby at some point on the weekend, I wouldn't mind another Saccone outing as a starter. I think he's more comfortable in that role. So those are the four guys I would like to see take the ball to start games. Then, yeah, you put him in one of those situations, I guess, with Webb. Hey, you're up 3. Give me the 6th and the 7th. I don't know. Is that bad? I think he's a multi-inning guy, right? So go get me the 6th and the 7th, and then I go to Jenkins 8-9.
I don't hate that either. I don't hate that. It just seems like, and I know he did close the first UTSA game, and he's got a save on the season, but it just seems like, I don't know, he just seems more comfortable when he's able to pitch in those lower leverage situations and kind of get into a rhythm. So they're just going to have to continue to figure it out. The Moran thing doesn't sound promising. It'd be nice to have him back, especially with Charlie Hoagland, the freshman lefty, kind of hitting a bit of a freshman wall right now. And, Ethan Rose gave you some good innings, but it's just a tough situation on the mound right now. All right. Lineup-wise, I got a question. What would we like to see done to the lineup to result in more more consistency. I'm sure this is something that the coaching staff is asking itself every single day. As I kind of asked Cliff, he said it himself, and then I kind of asked about it two different ways, which, I mean, it's just one of those things. At this point in the season, we're kind of running out of things to ask because it's been this similar stories each week. One week they look incredible offensively, the next week they don't. I mean, part of that is baseball. I watch a ton of MLB. I mean, just from day to day, from week to week, you never know what you're going to get with some of these teams. Some of it's dictated by who's on the mound for the other side, but I do think some of it is overall inconsistency with ECU's offense. What changes would we like to see made? Well, to be honest, there's not a lot of changes to make. You only have so many available players at this point. Something that was interesting is this weekend we saw Braden Bachman, the freshman, pinch hit a couple of times. He drew a key walk at one point, I believe, on Saturday. Maybe he gets some more run as a right-handed bat. Obviously, we saw Michael Kalinic have a big week. I think that makes sense for him to maybe see a DH role, even with Walker coming back to catch, hopefully now that he's healed. The one thing I would like to see specifically, and it's not a huge change, but it's a little bit of a change maybe you can make to maybe spark the lineup, specifically against left-handed pitching. You do become pretty left-handed right now. You've got Whitaker, who's a lefty, Lashley's a lefty, Irby's a lefty. If Sabater in there, he's a lefty. If Kalinic is going to DH, he's a lefty. That's 5 lefties. If you're going to see a left-handed starter, especially with Linehan out, I would like to see a couple more right-handed bats in there, whether it be the return of Carlos Hakame, who has not played in quite some time. Maybe you DH Boucher, or why not give Boucher a game at first base? I mean, if it's a tough left-handed starter, I feel like maybe they could do a little bit more as far as the lefty-righty thing, and that doesn't mean they have to play the whole game, but if you're facing a tough left-handed starter, maybe you throw in a Boucher or a Hakame, try to get them going a little bit.
Yeah, the Boucher thing didn't go as well as we hoped last year, but the guy's a good college baseball player, or at least a good hitter. I don't have a problem with him seeing more burn in the lineup at DH, at first base. I've been saying for a while, I think Irby needs 9 innings. I don't think he needs to walk into the ballpark and then, just see the lineup card posted and see he's not on it. But I would not be opposed to Cliff calling him his office. Just be like, look, dude, I'm going to give you 1 day to watch it from the bench. Because you want more consistency. That's what you need. You need more consistency out of your guys who are good. Now we're talking about during the break this week, just unfortunately, some of our better guys, like Whitaker, who's still leading the team in average, didn't have a good week, but whatever. He's leading the team in average. He's still hitting 360-something. So I'm not worried about him. But, yeah, I mean, now, like you said, with Linehan out, Braden to center, Hakame, yeah, probably to second this weekend. If you see a lefty starter, that's definitely the lineup I would want. And you leave Herring in right and Whitaker in left. And then even when, he comes back, could you do a situation where you do, against lefties, put Hakame at second, put Braden in left, and DH Whitaker, or DH Herring? Who has been, when that's the lineup, who has been DHing?
Yeah, lately it's been...
when Braden's at second and Whitaker and Herring are in, who's been
That's the thing. Herring had been DHing a lot because of his shoulder this weekend. The last few games he's been going more into playing, and you've been DHing kind of a combo of Boucher or Kalinic, because it had been primarily Herring for a while.
Who was in right?
The Whitaker.
Who was in left?
Sabater.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Sabater was in left. Okay,
Yeah.
I was like, Braden hasn't been playing that much outfield because, like we said, Hawkman played in, God, it feels like 3 weeks.
And then the other thing is with yesterday, Whitaker went to center and Sabater was in left when Linehan left, so it left the game. So I assume they're going to roll with Whitaker in center. And maybe I can't remember DeBurst. I guess he played some center last year, but it was more left.
Yeah, but Josh, I just don't like Davin in center.
Yeah.
I would rather a small, really quick guy. Like I said, he can cover ground, but he covers ground. It takes him a while to get up to speed. I want a quick first step guy in center. Just because he's, like I said, he's a long-legged dude. I would rather Braden out there. Or even, Souter can play center, right? Probably.
I think he played it at Millersville. It'd be nice to have Alex Peltier, but he is also hurt, just like half the roster is. And, I don't know. It's not a great situation, but you do have some options. Look, Kalinic is not going to go out and hit 3 home runs every week, but I do at least think he deserves a shot at DH consistently, which he played yesterday and hit the ball well. So part of it is baseball. You got to ride the hot hand, and there are ups and downs. Unfortunately for ECU this season, there have been too many ups and downs, but they're still in a decent spot. We'll get more into the postseason picture tomorrow. I did want to hit one more thing before we get a break in. A lot of discussion about the 2 players being thrown out at home on Sunday. So just playing baseball growing up and watching a lot of baseball, like with a runner on third, specifically a fast runner on third base with 1 out, it is extremely common for the hitting team to put on what's called a contact play, whereas as soon as the runner on third sees the hitter swing and make contact, he is taught to break for home. He doesn't look to see where the ball is hit. He doesn't wait to react. He goes. This is the play. ECU's typically always been an aggressive team on the base pass. And you're basically saying, all right, the chances of the defense making a perfect play, fielding it, A, having the ball hit right to them, B, fielding it, C, making a clean throw, and D, the catcher making a tag. Basically, all 4 of those things have to go against you with a fast runner on third to be out at home. It just unfortunately happened that both times, A, with Linehan, Matt Lashley hit it right to the first baseman. He was gone, got caught in the rundown, got thrown out. And then the next time, Colby Wallace hit a shot to short, infield drawn in. He's thrown out by what? This much? And that was hit directly at the shortstop. So, again, I understand the frustration. Yeah, it'd be nice to get a hit. Yeah, it'd be nice to get a fly ball. But, I don't think it's the wrong call to put the contact play on there. I just think it's bad execution or better execution by Tulane.
You and I were talking about it this morning. I don't think either one of those defenders we're talking about in the situations had to take a single step. And now maybe the Linehan play is still an out, right? Even if he has to take a step. But again, it was a first baseman playing in. You hope to get to one of those to one of the middle infielders. And then the one that Colby hit, he smoked it right at the dude. And like you said, Sabler was out by inch and a half. So, even if that guy's got to shuffle his feet one way, half a step, Sabler's there. So, this is 100% questionable if this happens because Austin Irby is on the base and Michael Kalinic or Walker Barron. But you have some of your speediest guys, and, sometimes the other team makes plays too. Those guys are D1 baseball players too. I had no problem with either one. Is it frustrating? Sure, but I think this is one of those things because it was a 1-2 weekend, because the season's been inconsistent, these 2 plays are now amplified a little higher. If this is, 2 years ago, it's well, damn, they got thrown out at the plate. Who cares? It is what it is. But it's just the situation we're in.
Correct. And if it's a slow runner, like you mentioned, or if there's no outs, you probably don't send them on the contact play with no outs because at that point you're playing the odds. With 1 out, you're basically saying the odds of all those things going correct for the defense and them getting the out at home are less than us getting a 2-out hit, which would then be required to – I may have said that backwards, but either way, you're saying that the chances of getting a 2-out hit are less than all those things going right and the runner being thrown out at home, which I think is the correct odds. It just so happened that Tulane made the plays, and your hits went right to the ball, right to the guy. The ball went right to the guys on those respective swings. So just wanted to address that. I know there was a lot of discussion about that coming out of the series, which is fair to question, coaching decisions, all that, but I just thought that one was not really a decision. It's more or less just circumstances not breaking ECU's way and ultimately costly and cost them a chance to compete and win yesterday's game, ultimately costing them the series. Let's get a break in. We'll come back. We'll wrap up the show after this.
Get ready to bring on the savings at Greenville Toyota with major deals on brand new Toyotas like a Camry, $229 a month, or RAV4, $279 a month. Now's your turn to save at Greenville Toyota.
In Eastern North Carolina, hard work matters, and it always has. At Flatlands Insurance Group, we've been showing up for our neighbors since 1963, helping families and business owners navigate change, weather tough seasons, and keep moving forward. Decades later, our purpose hasn't changed: to help protect what you've poured your time and energy to, from your home to your health to whatever comes next. Flatlands Insurance Group, your whole world covered.
Your confidence makes everything look good. You see the world in vivid color, not black and white. Swing through your neighborhood Fantastic Sam's Cut in Color and let our experienced stylists take you from everyday to extraordinary.
Fantastic Sam's hair salons are locally owned and operated. Our full-service salons are conveniently located in Goldsboro, Kinston, Greenville, New Bern, Jacksonville, and Calabash. Stop in today at Fantastic Sam's, where the possibilities are endless.
At National Finance, we're all about hometown support, just like ECU football. National Finance helps us win on and off the field. They've got your back when you need it most. Fast, easy personal loans for life's big plays. And just like us, they're committed to Eastern North Carolina. National Finance, proud supporters of ECU athletics. Visit nfcmoney.com for loans as fast as today.
Your future is full of possibilities, and Pitt Community College can help you explore every option. You can earn a degree, learn a trade, transfer to a university, or launch a new career. We offer the support you need to succeed with flexible schedules, affordable tuition, and programs designed for the real world. Your path, your future, your college. Pitt Community College. Register now.
Bring on the savings with new Toyotas from $159 a month at Greenville Toyota. Get huge discounts like Corolla's $159 a month or Tacoma's $249 a month. Save today at Greenville Toyota, where our volume saves you money.
Visit Larry's Steakhouse for a tender hand-cut certified Angus ribeye. Other entrees include perfectly seasoned pork chops, chicken, or seafood favorites like shrimp, tuna, and salmon. Complement your meal with Larry's fresh 20-plus item salad bar, or enjoy it as an all-you-can-eat entree. Daily rotating favorites include meatloaf, chicken pastry, hamburger steak, spaghetti, pork chops, and more, all complemented with your favorite country sides. Whether it's for lunch, dinner, or our Sunday brunch, remember to support and eat local. Larry's Steakhouse.
Every ECU fan's one stop for all things ECU athletics.
This is Hoist the Colors with Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game.
All right, welcome back in. Hoist the Colors on a Monday, wrapping up the show. It was Masters weekend in Augusta, and Rory McIlroy becomes the fourth ever golfer to win back-to-back Masters championships. A little anticlimactic, but still a pretty fun final Sunday of the Masters, and overall a good weekend of golf. I mean, he did most of his work Thursday, Friday. Didn't play well on Saturday, but Sunday bounced back from a rough start to hold off Scotty Scheffler, who made a run at it. Finished at 11 under par. Roy finished in 12 under, and the tap in for the win. So back-to-back green jackets for Roy Phillips. So how much of the Masters did you get a chance to watch, and your thoughts on the weekend?
Yeah, actually, this might have been one of the more times I got to spend watching it than I had before, with the ECU game being so late on Saturday. I was kind of hanging out most of the day and, just waiting to come over here to produce the game. So got to watch a lot. Sunday was awesome, man. Like you said, it was anticlimactic there, maybe that last 15, 20 minutes. But to have as many guys in contention as you did when they teed off, sometimes it's like, man, you just kind of got to watch the back nine, because before that, it is what it is. Well, man, they were constantly having to bounce around and show different golfers because there were so many guys within 3 shots of the lead. So it really was a great golf tournament. That's what you want to see. You want to see the best names in the world at the top of the leaderboard. And yes, a couple guys, took themselves out of contention throughout the day on Sunday. Minwoo Lee, or which one was it? No, it was Hao Tung Lee. Had a 10. Shane Lowry, I think, also had a 9 or a 10, and that dropped those guys off the leaderboard. But still, great weekend, and happy to see Roy get the back-to-back. Something I had not experienced. I was too young when Tiger did it. So
yeah, that last one happened, 01, 02?
Yeah, so I was 3.5 going on 4.
24 years ago, Tiger did that. So congrats to Rory McIlroy, and was a fun weekend overall of golf in Augusta. And I think I may be back in on Major League Baseball as well, Philip, because I found a team worse than the Seattle Mariners, the Houston Astros.
It's the team you hate the most.
7 losses in a row. Here's the good news for the Astros. They have scored the most runs in the American League with 93. The bad news, they have given up the most runs with 101 runs given up. I'm doing the look through here. The next closest to them is the Blue Jays. They've given them 82 runs. And the Rays have given up 80. The Yankees have somehow only given up 44 runs and are near 500 despite a plus 21 run differential. But either way, Astros have lost a ton of pitching, and I'm not sad to see it. Your Red Sox have also won 2 in a row. So our teams are on a combined 5-game winning streak. How about that?
Feels good, man. I think Saturday there was a little bit of William in attendance watching his Cardinals play. Might have played into that. The Cardinals are really bad when William's there.
He did get to see a win, though, right?
He did on Friday night. Yeah, he broke the streak. It was the first time he had seen them win since Game 3 of the World Series in 2013 against Boston.
So there's your quick MLB update. We'll maybe dive into more Pirates in the pros. It was a solid weekend for Connor Norby, as he did have to face Screwball yesterday, which wasn't fun, but had a good weekend overall. We'll dive into more Pirates in the pros sometime this week. Also, NBA playoffs are set. We'll get into that a little bit as well. NHL playoffs around the corner, too. So we got that discussion. We'll look at the at-large picture tomorrow for ECU baseball and a whole lot more. We'll see you then. Thanks for listening to Hoist the Colors.